A random encounter at a broadcasting facility. A shared interest and love of all things Marvel.
Excelsior!
A misinterpreted program title. And behold, a podcast is born.
Peter Melnick.
Podcaster and comic book enthusiast. And
Eddie Wilson!
Upstate New York radio announcer, still with an inordinate amount of catching up to do.
Peter, what are you doing? Eddie!
Here we go with a new episode of The Marvelists.
Welcome, everyone, to The Marvelists presents Hypothetically Speaking, a What If podcast. Episode number 4. What if Doctor Strange had a heart, or whatever the song was?
What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
Who can cure a hurting heart?
How do you mend a broken heart?
That was what I was referencing, but I'm a
What
jackass.
becomes of the brokenhearted?
Where do broken hearts go, Eddie?
Okay.
Well, Eddie, they go on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at
The Marvelists.
You can find us individually at Peter Melnick on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on TikTok at Peter Melnick, but better, you can also find Eddie on social media.
That is Instagram at Eddie9193, in addition to Facebook, Eddie Wilson with the sunglasses.
Attaboy, Eddie.
That's not the whole title, but, just for visual sake.
I think the book title for you should be Eddie Wilson with the sunglasses.
No, it's
Kinda like
Thanks for Listening. That's the title.
Becky with the good hair, Eddie Wilson with the sunglasses.
Oh, sorry, that's my epitaph. Oops, wrong thing.
You can also find us on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We have an RSS feed, will travel. And also, we're all available for all iOS and Android devices. So
and pictures and autographs, too.
Exactly. If you have one of those podcasting apps, you can wrangle us up. We're not on Amazon Music yet. We will be. We got like an invite thing on there, which is kind of cool.
Ooh.
But otherwise, you can find us on iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe, share, 5-star if you're ever so inclined.
I threw you off.
No, I just enjoyed doing it. Let's do it again. Oh, God damn. Anyway, like I said, find us on there. Broken ice cream machines, McDonald's. Eddie, you have news about the broken ice cream machines, too.
It made the news, yeah, ABC News.
I got 3 notifications
There's
about
an
that.
investigation as to why they're always broken.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Multitrust.
Complicated parts to clean was part of the reasoning.
Or just laziness.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making, dog shit money, come on. Like, oh, I gotta play with an ice cream machine now. Oh, it's kaput. But anyway, you can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/
Marvelists.
And for as little as $3 a month to as much as I did a lot of talking earlier, so that was a good way to clear my throat. But you can be able to help.
That's what you say.
Yeah.
There are other ways.
You can help support the show through there on Patreon and get access to early episodes in the $3 tier. $3 and up. Then for $4 or $5 onward, you get early access to episodes again, our undying love and affection and gratitude, and then 2 bonus shows. One is a monthly one is bi-monthly. The monthly show is The Fantastic Voyage, where we talk about every single issue of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's iconic, legendary, and
fantastic
run of
the Fantastic Four.
And right now, we're going to be recording this month our episode number 14 of it, which is issue number
14.
Exactly.
Is it a trick question? Is it a test?
Yes, it was. I'm actually on issue number 53.
Never you mind. Whatever.
I just read about the Black Panther. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But, and that's a big but, you can be able to listen to that. And we have some guests in studio and on the phone for those, including Al Ewing of The Immortal Hulk, which is going to be ending at issue number 50. And we've had on Tom Brevoort, we've had on the Steve Orlando of comics, Steve Orlando, and many other episodes, including Tom Scioli of Cartoonist Kayfabe fame. And then there's that You Haven't Read That series, where Eddie talks about comics he's never read before in his life.
Yeah, I thought it was If You're Happy and You Know It, but anyway.
Yeah, good enough. But on that show, what ends up happening is Eddie talks about series, like I said, that he's never read, that he should have read at this point. Like, why haven't you?
Yes.
You haven't read that? But in the month of August, we covered
Watchmen.
Eddie never read that until recently.
more than just male human beings who fix time devices.
Yeah, no, that was Dr. Manhattan's dad.
Oh,
So remember, he was the watchmaker.
I guess he must have been.
Son, you must become a scientist, not a lowly watchmaker like your dear old dumb dad. Anyway.
Great outlook.
And in the October episode, by the way, since it's bi-monthly, we're going to be doing the first 6 episodes, or first 6 issues of
The Walking Dead, just in time for Halloween.
Ooh.
Peter, do a spooky.
Can't see it for the audio podcast.
We heard enough.
Also, support the show on belowthecollar.com/
The Marvelists.
and get the Dad Joke Immune t-shirt because God willing, if you've made it this far, you are in fact Dad Joke Immune. I love when you do these. Anyway.
It's pretty boring if it was just you doing these, right?
Dad Joke. Yeah, it does. Anyway. For the Marvelists. No.
Podcast for one, please. Yeah.
Yes.
And a check.
This episode, we are talking about, as you can tell, as you fast forwarded far enough in this episode, we're talking about What If episode number 4. How do you mend a broken heart? Where do lonely hearts go? They go.
I'm sorry. When I first saw this title, What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart Instead of His Hands, I went to, okay.
Have a heart.
Bonnie Raitt. He was not able, to use his hands, and they were severely sliced and so on. And I thought, what, he had to have a heart transplant?
What if he had hearts for hands? That would be stupid.
So you say.
And that would look uncomfortable.
It's like having faces at the end of all your fingers.
Or that one Marvel bad guy who's got babies for hands. Remember?
Yeah. That's right. That's
Count Psycho or whatever the hell his name is.
yeah, dim memory there. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dim issue.
No, but I thought that's what got damaged instead of his hands, like in the original Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, that something happened to his heart and he needed a transplant or that kind of thing. But
Instead, no, we got Dormammu's Day. Instead of Groundhog's Day, we got Dormammu's Day.
You know what? That's an actually good comparison. I like that. Yeah. Release me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Christine, you're dead again. Christine, you're dead again.
Oh man! After the third one, I said, "What the heck's going on here?"
I'll be honest. Like I was half expecting, like just moments, like, and I was half expecting an anvil to fall on her head at one point, or a piano.
Oh no! Well, it was getting a little silly. But somebody, I'm sure, could have inserted Roadrunner or Wile E. Coyote without copyright infringement, I hope, to do that. But it becomes integral that this timeline event has to happen, we are told, with this twist in the accident. Well, the first part of it is, of course, the fact that they're both in the car. So I think he even tried to circumvent by not having her go out, not be in the car. He doesn't go out, and that really doesn't work either. It just can't be altered. It can't be changed because if she doesn't die, Strange won't become the Sorcerer Supreme.
But wait a minute. Something has to happen in order for something else to happen? That's almost like the fact that in Infinity War, someone had to have a meltdown and punch Thanos in the face repeatedly with a pistol. It's almost like people are baby-brained to the point where they don't realize, oh yeah, that's the only way that can happen. But no, Star-Lord should have just waited. You guys are friggin' idiots. Oh, I'm still salty about this.
Yeah,
How many years later?
Star-Lord wasn't wrong.
Hashtag Star-Lord did nothing wrong.
Yes, that too.
Anyway.
I'm expanding.
But
bad diet. Okay.
But in regards to this episode, I got to say, just right off the bat, this was... We end up getting a Doctor Strange that looks like, one Doctor Strange that looks like he didn't sleep.
Yes, the dark circles under his eyes and everything.
Where he's going through a goth phase.
Or an Alice Cooper-ish look.
He just loves Bauhaus, who knows, but I would say it was a cool episode in the sense of, one, we got the entire voice cast. Every person that was an actor in those movies reprised their role. We did not have a replacement actor. Benadryl Cucumberpatch reprised his legendary role of Dr. Strangelove.
All hands on deck. Okay.
Benedict Wong reprising his role of Wong, which, by the way, spoilers for another movie. But that I'm not. We'll get to that episode. We'll get to that one.
Yeah. Listen to you. We'll get to that episode. We'll get to that one.
An actress who played Christine reprised the role of Christine, because I don't remember her name. Because I'm amazing with research. What can I say? If you want to hear actual research, be sure to sign up for our Patreon, where I do make it worth your money by talking notes on Fantastic Voyage. Cheap plug ski for the Patreon.
Well, It is. It's very inexpensive, in fact. The Ancient One says you cannot reverse an absolute point. And that's apparently what it was. And then it was off.
Yes, you can. If you break a pencil, you can sharpen it and get the point back.
But an absolute point doesn't break. I would think. Unless it's got to be penultimate.
I withhold my discussion.
That's fine. I prefer that.
How dare you, sir?
Yes. Take them as I can. Mm-hmm.
But what else?
Well, there was a point of finding the library of Cagliostro, I believe, and the librarian, who I think was perhaps Mordo.
Sure.
In that, what I thought. And now,
Tweet us. Was it Mordo?
But apparently, this lost library with the lost books. They were not the lost boys, but they were trying to find. He was trying to find this to break this absolute point. And I have this quote that says, "Gain the power through the absorption of other beings." And I said, well, wait a minute. This does not sound good.
It sounds more like a ShamWow.
Does it?
It can wipe up a lot.
The
of
absorption?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. No, but if you're gaining power through the absorption of other beings, you're literally taking or sucking the life out of other beings so you can amass your own power storage, perhaps.
Mowage.
That's it. Mamau. Yeah, like you like to do.
Mm-hmm. Mowage. And holy matrimony.
That's white, Wabbit.
And in regards to just I want to go back to the reprisal of the characters, because I feel like this is one of those where every person involved, they're names, but they're not big names. So they didn't need to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
But I think like a baseball team, you need all the positions covered in the general sense of...
We didn't have Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr., Eddie.
I meant the Doctor Strange folks in there.
Well, I'm saying the voice actors.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah.
What else?
Well, we're finding out that apparently he is not the only Doctor Strange, or we're getting a hint at what's to come.
Yeah,
now
and we
this.
have Emo Boy Doctor Strange, where he's just being really sad and depressed, and it got me thinking, is that a variant? It's a Doctor Strange from a different timeline.
Well, no,
but it's still a Doctor Strange.
But the Ancient One says in this episode there are two strange timelines in the same universe.
Yeah.
That's a little twist of itself, I think.
But I think it would be considered a variant.
Variants give me another word, yeah.
Variants are different than the original one. So think about it like this. He's got his mascara.
Yes, and a different colored cloak. I believe it was more green.
It's a variant. That's why.
So two different cloaks as well.
I just got my copies of Dark Knight's Death Metal 1, 2, and 3, and they all have different covers than the main ones. And they come with flexi discs.
Oh.
And go, woo, music. I like that you looked at the levels for that one.
Well, because it blew out my ears. I thought, what's it going to do with the actual readout on computer? Yeah, that's good.
That's a ghost visiting a proctologist.
Now just relax. You know.
That's cold.
It's right. And Christine says, "You promised me creme brulee."
It's heartbreaking to see over and over and over.
Oh,
but like I said, after a little while, it's just like, hey, how are they going to kill the?
That's right.
I'm just going to turn it into Danny DeVito or Billy Crystal and throw Mama from the train. How are they going to kill the bitch next? And like I just keep waiting and waiting. Like I'm not kidding. I really was waiting for an anvil.
It really, I think you mentioned it before we started recording that this is a variation of. No, you didn't specifically, but now I'm thinking it's a variation of
Throw Mama from the Train.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And when Bill Murray's character tries to dispose of himself in various ways, and he says, "I must be immortal."
Well, one of the things that got me, and I was talking to somebody as I was watching it. When she bites it every single time, why doesn't he just use the thing and be like, wiggity wiggity, and then rewind time and prevent it? Like, no, honey, swerve to the left. No, and you know what I mean? Like, why couldn't they do that? Answer me.
That was another possibility, I suppose, another variant, another tangent. But we do get to the point where Steven gets absorbed into Steven. The good one goes into the bad one, and Christine does return.
The master of the ShamWow arts, yes.
That's right. But I think what may have been a little bit of a twist to this
Ooh, could you imagine the
in a
cloak?
sense.
Could you imagine the cloak, by the way, made out of the material from a ShamWow?
Why not? Sure. With the big SW on it. The logo, the insignia.
And S over by the one side of the neck and
Yeah,
S over the
that's
other
it.
side.
That's
It's perfect.
That's right. Just subtle, but it's noticeable. Très chic. Very nice. Almost a French kiss, even.
Available for 4 easy payments of $19.95.
Yeah, and where Steven says, you can stop this. And he's talking to, it looks like,
The viewer.
no, the watcher.
Well, first off, by the way, I love that the Watcher is involved in this episode. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm correct, the Watcher has not been actually involved in any of these stories so
Just
far.
just the very
being
opening.
like, hey, guys, I got a toga on. I'm big and bald. See
I'm
you later.
the watcher. Let's ponder the question, what if? That's what it is. I have to make a side note, too, that this, as well as another comic-related item, both in the same issue of Entertainment Weekly, in the September issue, getting a must-read list.
You're literally the only person I know who reads Entertainment Weekly.
This was a freebie. But you know what? It does help for some value to pass on information to. And it does give a brief what if you should be checking out. Forget everything you know about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What if is not that. And the picture that goes along with it is Doctor Strange.
What if is...
Timely.
I love how What If is starting to blow up again in the sense of, in the comic community, we're getting reprints of all of the What If books, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the individual ones, like Book 1, Book 2, Book 3, Book 4. They're actually selling now the omnibuses. So if you want to read them in a big-ass hardcover that's hard to put on your lap, you can. That option is available now.
For any length of time without cramping up, I suppose.
I mean, I have the Guardians of the Galaxy, 2 of them, and they're heavy bitches.
They are.
God bless Ollie's. Good stuff. Cheap.
That's a little bit more enthusiasm when they do it, but okay.
Good stuff. Cheap.
No. The ad you hear while you're in the store is good stuff, cheap.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
And
October 1st, the return of Seinfeld on Netflix. Man, I cannot wait for that show. Yeah. Well, I had sex with your wife. Sir, his wife is in a coma. Do you think eventually Christine would be in a coma?
If he stopped losing her all the time, because even with this whole
Did
thing...
he try behind the couch?
Behind the couch?
Or in the cushions?
Oh, in between, like lost change?
Yeah.
Oh, or crumbs?
Do you think there's a negative zone in the couches in the Marvel Universe?
If you frame it with couches in mind, I'm sure there is.
Dormammu, I've come to get my lost change. Dormammu.
Well, no, this episode, yes, does have a Dormammu I've come to bargain part in there as well. So, great shadings of the movie throughout. That's kind of cool.
I love the little references to the movie, where my favorite one was the whole acknowledgement of the whole name. The name is strange. No, it's not that strange. Like, but they did it just as well as the original one, where the other guy with the eyeliner, says it, and it's like that worked.
And I think, maybe they're trying to get you to think, the producers at the end of this episode, because I believe it was either. No, I don't think it was the Watcher. It could have been the Ancient One saying, one moment, one life, one choice,
one love
can destroy the entire universe. Hold that reggae.
Hold the onions.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Terrible for me.
High five.
Yeah.
Good enough.
That's right.
Mayo's the worst, too.
Yeah.
This show is not sponsored by Mayonster.
Or
Heinz mayonnaise infused with
or
Monster
anybody
Energy,
that was mentioned throughout the course of this recording.
including the Marvelists.
Yeah. And as of this recording date,
It was the 3rd of September.
A date which will live in infamy.
I mean,
A+.
why not?
Are we...
Hashtag Temptations. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
We went back to recording after Eddie did his sly editing in, and
Sly? This is Temptations, not Sly and the Family Stone. Get it right.
stop that. But yeah, sorry, you just caught me so off guard with that reference.
It happens.
I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. But what else can be said about this episode?
4 down, 5 to go?
Is it there?
Did you say 9 or 6? I don't remember.
Well, Dr. Google will help us in these trying times.
Doctor.
Give me the news. I gotta.
Podcast.
No, doctor, give me the news. I got a crippling anxiety and I need help. It's ruining my family. It's ruining my marriage. The music goes back.
Okay.
It's a thinking man's joke. You'll get it on the car ride home. Or not.
On your left. Mm-hmm.
What else, Eddie?
That's it. I think it was an enjoyable episode. It was tragic, for sure, because not only does someone die, but it keeps on happening with What If.
This is the most deaths in one episode.
That's right. It's one, but over different how many ways?
Like we get a reproduction of that one.
How do I kill thee?
How do I
count the ways?
How do I death? How
do I death thee?
Google, how do I death?
Well, it's a new thing. Yeah.
And as of right now, it's going to consist of 9 episodes, according to Wikipedia.
Okay, we're still at 9, rather.
A second 9-episode season is expected to premiere as early as 2022.
They're working on it now, perhaps.
Evidently, I did not know that. But one thing I want to ask you about with these, as we're now the almost halfway point of the series, the small runtime for these compared to the main Disney Plus shows, how do you feel about this bite-sized kind of show?
I'm good with it.
Same.
I am definitely good with it because you can go further, possibly, but at the risk of losing audience interest. I say that in the world of radio commercials. If you can say your message as an advertiser in 30 seconds, then do not do it in a minute. Lose the attention of the listener.
It's the elevator pitch equivalent, too, because in an elevator pitch, you pitch your idea to somebody, you have to do it in the length of what an elevator ride is.
Depending on what floor you get off at, yeah.
As long as you can get that story told in X amount of parameters, short storytelling is great. Mm-hmm. Like, as someone who has taken classes on writing comics, one of the things is you want to be able to write. If you can't tell a story in 2 pages to 5 pages to 8 pages, what's going to help you with telling the story over 8? Or not 8, but, like 20 or...
Longer, yeah.
Yeah, and...
Well, not longer than 20.
Being able to tell these stories in the amount of pages, or the amount of minutes, although it is pages on the script, but in the amount of minutes that it is great. And it makes sense why these episodes are the quality they are in terms of the grand scale of the events going on in such a short amount of time, is because if it was longer, the budget would be a lot more money for them. Because think about it like this. Compared to a movie, each thing on the screen is being created, each frame is being created by a team at once. Whereas if you have film and an actor, you're good to go, and then there's the post-production, which is less of a value, or is more of a value, but less is needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're going off into the business end of it, perhaps, and the expense, but that's fine.
Yeah.
There's that element as well. But it just in terms of entertainment value and enjoyment, and keeping the viewer in and involved.
And that's why What If could not work as a live-action series, in my opinion.
Oh.
Because these are fantastical situations utilizing you could have done these What If episodes on the down low while filming the movie, but you don't need to.
Yeah, right.
But for an animated series, it's great, and the amount of time is perfect for what it is. What if this had happened? Well, it would be like this. Now you don't need a whole story because then it's its own movie. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I like this episode, but it did not win me over as much as I would say the whodunit of last week or the What If T'Challa was a Star-Lord who was competent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's for what the story is. It was a hoot, but yeah. Although I have heard people afterwards saying, "I want to watch Doctor Strange again." So.
And maybe you'll and I think with every viewing, like in other movies in general, the more you watch, the more you could potentially recognize, understand, have not seen before, any of the above. Yeah.
So I think that's going to wrap this episode up for this week's edition of Hypothetically Speaking.
By the Vicente.
For the Marvelists, I'm Peter Melnick.
And I'm Eddie Wilson.
See you on the other side. Excelsior.